right. Thank you, ladies. That was amazing. Wonderful. You see what we can do here in Fairfax County, what we do all the time. Dr. Garza, did you want to say something?
Ms. Hines, I just want to, my goodness, every time I'm around our students, I'm always impressed and amazed and inspired by just the talent that exists in FCPS. So students, we're very proud of you. What a great job. And then I have to acknowledge the principal at Annandale High School, the infamous, very famous, Mr. Tim Thomas. We're very excited that he's the principal at Annandale High School, and we're expecting great things. So thank you, Tim, for being here tonight.
Not that we don't miss you out at Westfield, because we do, but thank you for sharing your incredible students with us tonight. A few announcements before we begin tonight's meeting. Mrs. Smith will not be attending tonight's meeting because she is attending a family funeral. If you would like to review a copy of the agenda and any agenda item that is being discussed tonight, that information is on the table by the auditorium entrance. You may access tonight's agenda and related meeting documents by going to the FCPS website, select School Board, and then Upcoming Meetings and Agendas. The meeting is also being streamed live on the FCPS website homepage. Click on Watch School Board Live. Please turn off or silence your cell phone. I will now call on Mr. Press for announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, we'll be recognizing Bullying Prevention Month, which will be throughout October. In an effort to promote awareness of school bullying, the Virginia School Board Association Board of Directors has designated the month of October as VSBA Bullying Prevention Month. Childhood bullying is a significant problem nationwide. It can cause school absenteeism, mental and physical stress, poor school performance, poor self-esteem, and in some cases, school violence. Statistics show that 160,000 children in the United States miss school each day as a result of being bullied. School board members, superintendents, teachers, and parents play a critical role in creating a climate where bullying is not tolerated. It has been proven when adults and children stand together, bullying ends. We'll also be recognizing Fire Prevention Week, which is October 4th through 10th of this year. Fire Prevention Week 2015 focuses on the importance of smoke alarms. The official theme, Hear the Beep Where You Sleep, encourages citizens to equip each bedroom with a smoke alarm in working condition. Working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in home fires in half. During Fire Prevention Week, fire safety educators around the country will work with citizens to teach them about fire safety tips, encourage them to regularly test their smoke alarms, and to install smoke alarms on every level of their homes, and provide activities featuring Sparky the Fire Dog.
Thank you, Mr. Press. Item 1.03 on our agenda tonight, I call on Dr. Garza. Oop, who's coming right back?
Making one major adjustment, excuse me. Yes, we're very excited tonight to introduce an important partner to our work. As we have gone about over the last since 2008, but certainly with great degree of interest and concern over the last several years to find every bit of efficiency and certainly where we could decrease operational cost, we sought out a partner to help us with regard to managing our energy cost. And because every dollar we save in terms of energy costs can be directed back to classrooms, to teacher salary increases, every other important things that we know are important to our school and school system. So tonight, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our partner, Synergistics. And before I start that, I was going to say the goal of this effort, yet challenging, simple but yet challenging, and that's to significantly reduce our energy consumption and therefore the cost of our utilities. But at the same time, still ensuring that our teachers and our classrooms are comfortable for our students and our teachers and for learning. But I will tell you that with these efforts and the support of this wonderful team at Synergistics, I know they're going to introduce everyone probably that's here tonight with them. I'm pleased to report that we have saved well over $4 million as a part of this partnership, and I think there's more ahead that we can do to make sure that we're being very efficient, taking care of our earth. It certainly is very much in line with our green initiative, and we know that that helps as well. I have to also acknowledge Jeff Plattenberg and his team. They're instrumental in terms of managing it on our end, and all the energy specialists. I think they'll be introduced shortly. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Randy Hoff, the Chief Executive Officer of Synergistics. And tonight he not only will set the stage a little bit for our partnership, we had a presentation, you'll remember, in I think it was July from Synergistics, and you all were, I think, quite impressed with the progress that's been made with this partnership. But tonight he has very exciting news to share. So with that, Dr. Huff.
Thank you, Dr. Garza. I'm proud to represent Synergistic, my firm, CEO. We've been partners with Fairfax County Schools since early last year, and we worked hard to implement a comprehensive energy conservation program for the district here, and we've been very successful with that. We've got a big announcement today, something that we've been working on for several months now and that we're very proud of. We're proud to say that the district has achieved significant recognition with ENERGY STAR. In fact, this is the largest, most number of buildings that are certified by any school district in the country in the last decade. So Fairfax is leading the way with ENERGY STAR. And it's a significant accomplishment. It's something we're very proud of. And you know, Fairfax is a leader nationally in a lot of areas, but this provides tangible proof of your leadership, the role that you play in sustainability and operational efficiency, and in managing the budgets as well. As you probably know, Fairfax spends about $35 million a year on utilities, so it's a significant expense. And the Energy Specialist team, along with Synergistic, one of our goals is to help manage that expense, to ensure that we're eliminating waste, that we're leaning out the organization and maintaining the comfort in the buildings as well. And we've been very successful with that. As one example, we recognized a 15% reduction in energy consumption over the summer. So that's a significant step forward, but we believe that there's the opportunity in Fairfax for a 25% reduction. So while we've come a long way, we still think there's a lot of opportunity for additional savings here at the school district. You know, one of my favorite quotes is from President Kennedy, and he says, "Victory has 1,000 fathers." And certainly the success that we have with the energy conservation program is no exception. There are many people that deserve credit for the success that we've had to date. And I'll start by naming just a few. I'll start with the board here. I want to thank you for your leadership, for your vision in having energy conservation be a core value for Fairfax County Schools. It's an incredible thing. Dr. Garza, thank you for your leadership in the importance of reducing the district's carbon footprint and also redirecting those funds, that $4 million, back into the organization to improve the educational mission of the organization. Our leaders out in the field, Jeff Plattenberg and Susan Quinn, they champion the energy conservation program and help us keep within bounds and within scope the best we can and really make our jobs easier. And there's countless numbers of staff, the maintenance and the operations team, the maintenance team. Warren and Justin are in the audience today. They have great leadership. Food services, community outreach. Everybody has a hand in changing behavior and changing their habits and saving energy. The last group that I want to recognize is our energy specialist team. If our energy specialists could stand up. So. The energy specialist team is especially important. It's their job to work on reducing the energy footprint of Fairfax County Schools, and it's more than a job. It's their passion. It's what their sweat and their tears are what really achieved the success that we have today. So without further ado, we created a short video, a 2-minute video that helps explain the significance of the ENERGY STAR recognition and talks about why that's important nationally. So if we'll roll the video.
You've seen the logos on some of your favorite electronics and appliances in your home. ENERGY STAR products are independently certified to save energy, preserving the environment without sacrificing features or functionality. But ENERGY STAR is more than just efficient products. The United States Environmental Protection Agency works with organizations to help save money and reduce greenhouse emissions through conservation.
Fairfax County Public Schools' energy conservation program has been hugely successful, and that success has been validated by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. We're really excited about it. We've got great things going on in our communities, in our school division. The cost avoidance measures that we've put in place, we've actually seen tangible dollars that we've saved. It is the real deal. To earn the EPA's ENERGY STAR certification, a facility has to be certified by a third-party engineer that it's among top 25% efficient buildings in terms of energy use in its peer group nationwide. Today, Fairfax County Public Schools is the largest school division with the most number of ENERGY STAR certified facilities in the country. We're extremely proud of that fact. It is an amazing feat when you take not just a large school division, but you take a community. You know, it's said it takes a village. Well, we are so proud that our communities come together and our partnerships, and we've achieved the #1 rating in the nation for this year in terms of the number of facilities with the ENERGY STAR certification. And that's significant, folks, because what that does is that means we're saving money that can be spent back into the classroom. That cost avoidance that we're not paying for an unnecessary energy bill, whether it be electricity or water or gas, is money that's going to the main thing, and that's our education, the teaching and learning of our students. It's just huge for the school division as a whole. It's in keeping with the core mission and beliefs of the school board. It shows that we're good stewards of the public trust, and we're extremely proud of that. It's one of the reasons why Fairfax County Public Schools is a green school division.
All right, let's give a big hand to Jeff Plattenberg. Great film work, great teamwork on that. With me is one of the other stars of the video, Mr. Mike Zatz. Mike represents the EPA. He's chief of the Market Sectors Group of ENERGY STAR, and he's also affiliated with the school district here. So please welcome Mr. Mike Zatz.
Sort of looked like one of the engineers there. Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking the members of the school board and Dr. Garza and Dr. Hoff for inviting me to join you tonight for this very exciting announcement celebration. On behalf of the United States Environmental Protection Agency and all of us in the ENERGY STAR program, I commend you for your outstanding accomplishments and your commitment to improving the energy efficiency of the Fairfax County Public Schools. As was mentioned in the video, many of you probably recognize the blue ENERGY STAR logo as the symbol indicating the most energy-efficient electronics and appliances. You probably have a lot of these in your home, and you may look for them when you go shopping. Well, as we've heard, the ENERGY STAR that is now in 146 Fairfax County schools means that these schools are among the most energy-efficient schools in the entire country. That blue ENERGY STAR logo on a school is an indicator of superior energy performance and means that the building has been verified as being in the top 25% of American schools in terms of its energy efficiency. And because ENERGY STAR certified schools generate on average 35% fewer greenhouse gas emissions than typical schools, you can also be assured that these buildings are helping in the fight against climate change. Just yesterday, we heard President Obama and Pope Francis remind us that climate change is one of the greatest challenges in human history. And they encouraged all of us to face this challenge head on and not to leave it to future generations like the children being educated in our schools. Well, I'm here to tell you that the buildings in which we work, play, and learn have a tremendous role to play in addressing this challenge, even though many people may not realize it. Virtually every building, from the smallest school to the tallest skyscraper, uses energy derived from the burning of fossil fuels, which contribute to climate change. These buildings account for nearly half of all U.S. energy consumption at a cost of over $200 billion per year. And believe it or not, over 30% of that energy used in these buildings is typically wasted. So we have at once a tremendous challenge to reduce energy consumption and also an incredible opportunity to fight climate change and save money. It's gratifying to see Fairfax County Public Schools, one of the largest school districts in the nation, taking on this challenge and seizing this opportunity. Your 146 ENERGY STAR certified schools are now the most in any district in Virginia, surpassing the previous leader, Loudoun County. And as Dr. Hoff mentioned, you now have the largest number of ENERGY STAR certified schools of any district in the entire country in the last 10 years. Now, ENERGY STAR is a voluntary program, and we depend on the work of our partners such as you. And we only succeed when our partners succeed. And if you're any indication, I think that we're doing a pretty good job ourselves. We're proud to have Fairfax County Public Schools as an active partner in our program, and we'll be letting everyone across the country know that you've set a very high standard, not just for other educational institutions, but for any type of institution, public or private. But this is not an endpoint, because there remains much work to do. By my calculations, there are about 50 schools in the county that have yet to earn the ENERGY STAR certification, and I'm sure that their staff and students will want to do all they can to join their peers as soon as possible. And then we have those 146 schools that have earned the certification, and there's still tremendous opportunity for improvement in those schools as well. So I encourage you to remain vigilant in your efforts and to not just maintain your performance in these 146 schools, but to improve it continuously. Now, I also wanted to take a moment to talk about what this accomplishment means to the community here in Fairfax County. I am the proud parent of 2 children in the Fairfax County public school system, Taylor, an 8th grader at Rachel Carson Middle School, and Taryn, a senior at Chantilly High School. And as a parent and a taxpayer, I'm very pleased to see the schools working hard to reduce your energy bills. Because, as was mentioned earlier, every dollar saved on utilities can instead be put toward classroom learning and supporting after-school activities. And I know we all agree that these are our top priorities, and these are what make Fairfax County among the best schools in the country. Commercial buildings such as schools are complex structures, and it requires a team effort between the owner, that's you, the engineers who run the buildings, and the staff and students who occupy those buildings in order to make them energy efficient. You should be very proud of what you've accomplished, and I wish you congratulations from all of us at Energy Star and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for your outstanding achievements in protecting the environment and for being good stewards of the taxpayer funds that you receive. Thank you very much, and go Chargers.
Thank you, Mike. I just have 2 things to wrap up. First of all, I have a gift for the board. It's literally a token of our appreciation. We created military challenge coins to commemorate this event. This was a significant effort. We started work on this project in December and spent countless hours and time with the EPA and our engineering staff on site. So it's a big event for us to celebrate, and we'd like to give the board each one of these military challenge coins. It says, recognizes Fairfax County Schools on one side, and it says Energy Conservation Leader, and on the other side it says Synergistic, the Energy Conservation Company, and just symbolizes our partnership that we have. So I'd like to give one of these to each one of the board members, and then if I could ask a favor, if we could take a group photo, I would really appreciate it. Mr. Zatz brought a Energy Star plaque with him, so we could use that as our prop, and if that's acceptable, we'd love to do that.
We would be proud to take a photo with you all. So anyone who's involved, please come down to the front and we'll get a picture. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I think we're having some Q&A. I may need to phone a friend.
just to provide a little context, Randy, about, I don't know, last December, sometime ago, when we were sitting down and looking at how many Energy Star certified schools, and we said we've got to have the most of any school system in the country.
Right.
And because we're very competitive, and we have to be first.
I've learned that about Fairfax.
And
this
is important to be first on, because it demonstrates to our community how serious we are about taking care of the precious taxpayer dollars that we're stewards of. But I remember us looking at Los Angeles Unified, and keep in mind, just to provide some context, Los Angeles Unified has 1,400 schools. Right. And how many do they have right now?
They have 142 certifications. We left it generic on the graphic, but they were the previous leader. And Fairfax, with 225 or so campuses, 3/4 of your buildings certified, is the new nation's leader. It's a significant accomplishment. We can't overstate it. I think we can get more. I think we have a lot of runway ahead of us to improve even more. But it's a fantastic start, and really puts you in elite company and second to none.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight to help us celebrate. This is really quite special. And I know that we have some board members who would like to ask questions or make comments. Mr. Moon?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, thank you for the gift.
You're welcome.
It looks like made of gold.
I don't think it's real gold.
Should we report this as an elected officials? I have a question regarding the extent of efficiency savings we can ever generate. I understand that if we turn off all the lights, shut off everything, it's 100% savings. Probably that's not something we can go. Right. Where do you think the maximum extent a school district can go, or Fairfax in this case?
Yeah, in this case, we performed at a 15% level over the summer. Whenever we made the original projections for Fairfax about 18 months ago now, we projected an 18% savings. So we were expecting to achieve an 18% reduction on the $35 million total spend. I'll say, having been in the buildings and having a year plus work experience under our belt, we believe we can achieve 25% energy savings without sacrificing the comfort. That's the key thing. The primary mission of the school district is to educate students, so we need comfortable environments for our teachers and for our students. We think there's enough waste in the system to get to that 25% level, and that's what inspires our team every single day.
So if you translate additional 10% into the dollar figure, how much would that be?
$3 million a year.
$3 million. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing another $3 million.
All right. I'm on record, I think.
Ms. McLaughlin?
Well, I know that my colleagues probably all want to comment on how incredibly exciting this is, not just because, as Dr. Garza said, we're competitive and we like to be number one, but without question, for me, I'm a native Californian, and since the 70s, my family's been talking about conservation. And to see, finally, a school system of our size that has such an enormous impact on our county and our community, this is truly cause for celebration. And to think that not only are we then being able to redirect the funds back into the classroom, but we are shaping the mindset of 190,000 students and their families to really talk about what it means to be energy efficient, energy conscious, and that is really intangible. You really can't even quantify that in dollars. So I do want to reinforce something you just said now, which is it's always going to be that delicate balance of the cost savings, but making sure we maintain a comfortable teaching and learning environment in our schools. And so I appreciate that your staff will be partnering with us in the system to really make sure we find that sweet spot, because we certainly don't want to have any negative effect in trying to continue to shoot for that 25% goal. And as a board member, I just look forward to supporting Dr. Garza and her team on this incredible achievement. And Mr. Plattenberg, I tip my imaginary hat to you. Thank you for being a leader and joining us here from Loudoun and letting us beat them now.
Ms. Strauss?
Congratulations. This is just wonderful, wonderful news, and I too congratulate Mr. Plattenberg and all of the other people who worked so hard with this. I was at a back-to-school night tonight, sitting in on a first grade class at Haycock, and it was Very interesting. They were going over their environmental stewardship and sustainability projects with their first graders, which was very impressive. I know when this project first started, there in some of the buildings there was concern: is this going to work? Are we going to end up with buildings that are not livable? And you've done it. I mean, the buildings are wonderful. I hope that the approaches that you have taken, that we will incorporate them into our science classrooms so the kids can understand exactly what you've done, because this is a wonderful learning opportunity, because obviously what you are teaching us with our buildings is what we need to teach our children, so that there is carryover in their own lives, in their own homes, and in their own businesses. So this is very valuable, and I think we are just thrilled. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Press?
You know, it's very interesting that this couldn't be more timely, because I've seen such a growing tide of interest from students in environmental stewardship. I mean, this is an issue that we've just seen grow exponentially. Even in my time in Fairfax County, I mean, just the focus that we brought to this issue is incredible. But as I said, students are very concerned about this issue, and so I'd pose the question: what would be the best way for our student communities to get involved in supporting your work and our efforts on environmental stewardship?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Jeff may be a better person to answer that question than me, because I know the district has a robust sustainability and green program in place right now that involves students. What Synergistic can bring to the table with Energy Star, with our partnership with Energy Star, is two things. We have fantastic data, clean, good data right now, to be able to compare schools, to compare high schools on a cost per square foot basis, a use per square foot basis. And there can be some internal competition that goes on here too. It's not just Fairfax against LA Unified. It can be two high schools competing against each other to see who's the most energy efficient, and the students can absolutely get involved in that kind of a competition. And then our energy specialists, they're out in the buildings auditing and teaching and educating and getting them involved in classroom activities and sharing some of their practices and their observations and what they look for in a very efficient building. I think that's another way to translate the program.
And if I could, Mr. Hess, to add on to that, Dr. Hoff was spot on. And we have a three-legged stool approach, if you will. You're going to be hearing October 8th, the spotlight. We're going to be talking to Lane Tollins in the audience about the Get to Green program and the Green Flag Initiative, the Echo Schools partnership with the National Wildlife Federation, and that is truly tied to the instructional component, to each of the individual instructional strands. So you're going to be hearing about that piece of it as well. And then the third leg of the stool is what we've got, the 30% of all of our renovation dollars are for sustainable initiatives. And what we do is we have a committee that's working together of all these partners to make sure that we're inclusive in each aspect of it, so we don't miss the opportunities that you mentioned that are just evolving all around us.
All right, Mr. McElvain.
So this is very fantastic work. Thanks to you and everyone who's been working on it. One question is that previously, I think our school district had relied on the CHIPS system of rating, and so I'm wondering now, are we moving towards Energy Star, or are we still incorporating CHIPS, or what is the plan?
We are still incorporating CHIPS. The Consortium for High Performing Schools, it's that's the same rating system that when LEED first came out. It was a great initiative. It got people focused on energy and sustainable components, and we kicked it up a notch, if you will, because the Consortium for High Performing Schools, the CHIPS initiative, we were on the board for the Eastern region. Mr. Sneed and his team were leaders in that area as well in developing some of the requirements that fit specific regions. But that has to do with the actual construct and construction of that, which incorporates Energy Star equipment and different innovative ideas. So it really is part and parcel. That's why this is a holistic revolution, if you will, and I call it an evolution revolution. But it is a part of the whole pie.
Okay, Ms. Reed.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting, and I hope that we'll do a lot of bragging about this, because this is certainly a remarkable accomplishment, and thank you for the partnership. My question is, can you give us some examples for the types of either equipment changes that you made or behavior changes that you insisted upon that got us to this point?
I'll start, and then I may have to defer to the team for the specifics. In general, what we find the biggest savings opportunity is in controlling heating and air conditioning. HVAC is where 60% of the spend is. So the best opportunity is managing the partially occupied and the unoccupied times. So how are the buildings operated when they're less than fully staffed, and what happens on snow days and weekends and holidays? And that's generally where the biggest portion of the savings comes from. And as the program matures and evolves, you can begin to manage that. You can begin to consolidate summer school activities or schedule athletic events in a way that you're focusing things towards more efficient buildings so that you're able to save money that way as well. So it's generally around managing HVAC is the biggest savings opportunity. I don't know if Tom or if anybody else has any additional comments.
I would say the other piece is the daily diligence of turning things off as well. It's the computers, it's the lights, it's managing blinds. Those things that in and of themselves may be trivial for one, when you multiply it by thousands and tens of thousands of people doing things, it makes a world of difference. So it's the little things that piggyback on what Dr. Hoff said.
I might add to that. This is really more of a changing behavior and managing systems. This did not include like retrofitting. It's not any equipment necessarily. Now, that's another component of a lot of the work that's being done in our schools to use energy efficient equipment, materials, lighting systems, fixtures, that's all a part of it. But this is largely about how well and the training that's provided for the energy specialist, and then their assistance and support of our people in the schools is really instructive, because they learn how to better manage the systems, the impact of that. We're comparing schools that have the same footprint when energy cost in one school is this, and maybe much lower in another school. So really learning how to best manage and operate the systems and make sure that we're running them efficiently and effectively. And then certainly having just bring it to the level of consciousness about turning off lights and just taking care of that as well.
Thank you. And just to finish up, I agree with Mrs. Strauss that this is a learning opportunity for our kids as we talk about sustainability and we talk about the portrait of a graduate and the things that we want our kids to graduate being able to do. These are clearly the types of behaviors that we need to instill in our kids. And last but not least, I have to mention, as you're looking for new opportunities, I've heard from the community the issue of the lighting on the turf fields. Maybe some others have heard that as well, that our lights seem to be on late at night and nobody's on there, and so I just wondered, is this also kind of part of your purview to look at that kind of a thing as well?
Absolutely, that's an element of it, absolutely, and that's something we'll check into. It's a very visible opportunity. Lighting is a small percentage of your total spend, but it's kind of the court of public opinion. That's what people see, and that's what they judge you on, because they see the lighting. They don't see air conditioning running when it shouldn't be running. So that's why you need to capture the lighting opportunities, and this is a perfect opportunity for an improvement.
And one more thing I just can't help but say, Mr. Plattenberg, you've heard the kudos and I piling on, but I also wonder, what is the status of our HVAC systems? I know as we talk about maintenance, just does that impact our ability to attain greater savings as we reflect on our budget here? Is that something that we need to be mindful of?
Well, absolutely. What goes on here, Ms. Reed, is exactly that. You go ahead and when you have your systems operating at their most efficient level, then their life cycles are achieved. If we're utilizing our systems, our mechanical systems, our boilers, our chillers, and we're not running them the way that they were designed or engineered to be run, then what we're doing is we're cheating ourselves. And you're going to see our deferred maintenance costs start to snowball, our breakdowns start to increase. And given what we've all talked about the difficult resources and the staffing problems we've had and the funding for that in terms of our maintenance and technical trade staff, great group of people who do an outstanding job. But if we don't operate efficiently, we're going to get behind the curve on that. So this does, in fact, as you say, help us stay forward-leaning.
I think Randy would also agree with me that I think that the age of some of our and condition of some of our systems, I think, did pose a significant challenge as you all came into our system and started working with us on this. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Absolutely. There are clear opportunities to upgrade infrastructure, and I would say a need to upgrade infrastructure in Fairfax. We don't sell infrastructure. We don't sell equipment, so I'm kind of an honest broker in this opinion. But conservation, which is changing behavior and leaning out operations, is a big opportunity, and we're well down the path of that. I would encourage Fairfax to continue to invest in the infrastructure and upgrading HVAC systems and control systems to capture that next level of savings. It's going to take that in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Schultz?
So I have just an operational question. As a part of the process in evaluating the systems that are on our campuses, is there any evaluation of kind of a silent pollution, which is noise pollution, and the efficacy of the equipment? And if we're cycling on and off, I'm worried about ambient noise and student achievement and the way that it may interfere with, because I've been in a lot of schools where if it's cycling on or off, that's when it's kicking in some of that ambient noise. And is there a distractibility assessment that you go through when you're looking at aging equipment or powering equipment on and off and what the impact may be?
I'm not familiar with that, if there is, but it's a logical question. I think it's worth following up on, and that's something.
Dr. Hoff, I can answer that. The answer is yes. One of the things that Mr. Sneed has done, one of the areas that he's addressed through our renovation program, is the ambient noise. The feedback that we receive from our teachers, the instructors that are providing classroom instruction on a daily basis, we've reduced over 30% of the noise ambiency from the units that we provide and the sound conditioning that we provide into our classrooms. But again, when you take a look at the age of our physical plant and you take a look at our cycle of renovation and replacement additions, we're pretty far behind. But yes, Mr. Sneed has been really one of the leaders in this area, because the feedback from our teachers when we, this was years ago, when we had them come together and talk about the environment, classroom environment, they had mentioned a lot of the distractions.
I'm just wondering if there's a way on, like a, if you will, in educational speak, to have an ongoing report card between, if they're already in and assessing buildings, and, if we can't make that a part of the ongoing assessment so that we're always, keeping up with it. Because, of course, at the end of the day, money is great, but student achievement should be the focus of what we're talking about. So that's something I think for a future conversation. But if you guys could keep your eye on ways that you could be collecting data, since you have a good, clean mechanism for collecting and having data, that's something that dovetails right back to the classroom and makes it educationally relevant.
Okay.
Thank you.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, my goodness, thank you so much. This is such an important milestone in this ongoing journey that we have with you all. As I understand it, we will continue to have a partnership with Synergistics for some years.
That's right.
Right, and that's wonderful, because we clearly have goals, and you have goals, and we agree with them, that we'll continue to become more efficient.
And our goal is we want to achieve that 25% level that I committed to in front of you all. So
there you go. Absolutely.
We're working hard to get there.
We will hold you to it. So thank you so much for helping us look good by doing good.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we do have, everyone who comes to our meetings is, of course, an honored guest, but we do have a couple of guests tonight that I wanted to point out. Mark Emery is here tonight. He is a former school board chair. If you would just wave, Mr. Emery. Thank you for being here. And we also have Ken Quincy, if Ken is still here. Yes, would you wave, Ken? Ken is the Providence District representative on the Park Authority Board and the Park Authority Board's liaison to the school board. Thank you for being here tonight. Okay, we have now come to a sad part of our agenda tonight, item 1.04, and I call on Mrs. Strauss.
We are honoring someone very, very special tonight. Pam, would you please come to the lectern? No, she has to, because we have to honor her appropriately. Yes. It is the place of honor for those, we have so much to be thankful for. Resolution honoring Pam Goddard. Whereas Pam Goddard has served Fairfax County Public Schools with excellence and dedication for 26 years. She began her FCPS career at Carl Sandburg Middle School and then worked at West Potomac High School as an attendance officer before joining the school board office in 1995. And whereas Ms. Goddard worked in the school board office for 20 years, she served for 5 years as the deputy clerk of the school board and then as the clerk of the school board from 2000 until the present time. During her tenure in the school board office, Ms. Goddard provided extraordinary leadership and unparalleled expertise for 6 school boards comprised of 34 different school board members. She developed strong working relationships with the FCPS leadership team and collaborated with the Fairfax County officials to promote school board goals and objectives. And whereas with tireless hard work, long hours, and excellent judgment, Ms. Goddard managed the school board office staff and all of us. She provided advice and guidance to staff directly supporting school board members, as well as staff responsible for administrative, policy, records management, and student discipline functions. She was willing to consider new ideas and processes, all the while ensuring the school board's compliance with Virginia Code and regulatory requirements, and you kept us out of jail many times. Whereas Ms. Goddard has proven to be an invaluable resource to school board members and FCPS leadership and staff, her infallible memory has served as a historical vault of school board debates, motions, and votes for the last 20 years. Questions about school board accomplishments and history were often answered by a visit to Ms. Goddard's office. And whereas Ms. Goddard's energy and enthusiasm were contagious, she delivered inspiration and direction to her staff and school board members with humor, integrity, affection, and common sense. Her office door was always open, and oftentimes there was a line stretching down the hall. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fairfax County School Board extends its greatest affection, highest commendation, and deepest appreciation to Pam Goddard on the occasion of her retirement for her exceptional leadership and outstanding service to the Fairfax County School Board and Fairfax County Public Schools. I so move.
Second, Madam Chair.
All those in favor? And it is unanimous. We would love to take a picture with you now down front, and we have a plaque to present to you, a beautiful plaque. And anybody who wants to join us for the picture, please come down front.
The Pam Goddard Fan Club.
Not my best side. All sides of your best side. Oh, I'm sorry.
I will hug like 30 people if we all that numbers. Okay, here we go. Next week. Here we go.
Oh, this is so pretty.
I would like to tie up.
Come on, guys. Janie's been with me the whole time. Yeah, you tried hard to get your to do. Yes, yeah, you come down here, buddy. Okay, how does that look? Yeah, Janie and I joined this. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. 1 month? The flowers are funny. The flowers like look funny. Beautiful.
So,
Sings about me.
Yeah, I know. That's in
Ms.
here.
Goddard, as you know, we're not even nearly done. We just wanted to get the picture out of the way. So I'm going to call on Ms. Darinette Koufax for the next part of the festivities.
Hi, Ms. Goddard.
Hi, Ms. Darinette Koufax.
Well, when we were trying to think of a way to honor Miss Goddard, someone who surprisingly does not like to be the center of attention, someone who wants to keep the meeting moving on and may even occasionally roll her eyes during portions of the meeting like this, we thought, what could we do? Something that's understated, something low-key, and we really couldn't think of anything. So we're borrowing from a famous entertainer, one who he himself retired. So in the style of David Letterman, we now present the top 14 reasons why we will truly miss our clerk of the board, Miss Pam Goddard.
Oh, my.
And I call first on Dr. Garza.
Number 14. We will miss, and this is on behalf of myself and the entire leadership team, we will miss her polite doggedness in getting items posted to board docs on time while making us feel like our agenda item is the most important one for the meeting. Her ability to select dinner items that delight both school board members and LT. Her insistence on everyone using coasters in the school board conference room. But mainly, and seriously, her very positive spirit and her smiling face and her collegiality. We will miss you.
Thank you.
Number 13. We will miss Pam's warm and engaging smile, her supreme knowledge of all things school board, her bold and witty demeanor, sassy in a good way, and caring in that cool auntie kind of way, and always professional, willing to do whatever it takes to make her board shine. You know how much we'll miss you.
Number 12. As she shows us again tonight, Pam is always impeccably dressed, far better dressed than her board members. And then number 11, on behalf of Ms. Kathy Smith. We will miss Pam because she is Pam, extremely talented and fun to be around.
Oh, Pam, we lost out. We couldn't get you to stay. So here we are. We will miss Pam Goddard, the ever so polite but knowing suggestions. You may want to think again about what you are planning to say or do, because, and this is for school board members, not you guys, you're very professional, for us. A, it may be illegal. B, it may be impolite. C, it may be misspelled. D, it may be poorly worded. E, it may get you into trouble. And F, it may be crazy. Thank you, Pam. You have saved us so many times.
Thank you, Jane.
Ms. Goddard,
Yes.
thank you always for being there for each of us, even as your hair turned gray doing so.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. We will miss your caring professionalism, your dry humor, teasing comments, rolling eyes, of course, genuine friendship. You are a good soul who has made an extraordinary difference for each of us, our students, schools, and community. So why are you leaving us? Oh, I didn't get the memo, sorry. Thank you.
Ms. Goddard and I joined the school board in the same year, in 1995. So we belong to the same class. Number 8, we will no longer have anyone to call goddess in the school board office. Just like a goddess, Pam knows everything. But as you know, in addition to being a goddess, she can also act as if she were your own mom. So we'll also be without our mom in the school board office.
Number 7, I bet you know what I'm going to say, don't you? What I will miss most is our talks about trips to Colorado. We both love the Rocky Mountains, and even the crazy weather there. I know you will enjoy spending more time with your daughter in Evergreen. We'll miss you.
Number 6, and there's quite a theme going here. For me, after 4 years of working together, Pam, I will miss your warm smiles and your very thoughtful questions about my loved ones. And most importantly, we will also be missing your institutional knowledge about all there is in the school board office. Thank you for everything you've given us.
Number 5. This is so me. One of the most critical qualities in the clerk of the board is to have great memory and great organization. We will miss Pam because she is the only one who can ever remember who was supposed to debrief at the next school board meeting and be able to procure me yet another cell phone cord or plug because I have burned through yet another set. Thank you for being so organized and so thoughtful with the school board. We're going to miss you.
Madam Clerk, when someone mentions Route 1, who will nod approvingly when I correct them with the Richmond Highway Corridor? And to whom can I turn with raised eyebrows when someone says, down there in Mount Vernon?
I'll miss Miss Goddard, my godmother, for being the board's resident attendance officer. She has a miraculous quality for knowing where everyone is at any given time and can find you in the blink of an eye. You just better hope she has something good to say.
Number 2, people often say that managing the school board is like herding cats. We will miss Pam as the cat herder in chief, usually all catnip and warm milk, but also somehow able to get us to gleefully follow her laser pointer. Pam, we will miss you so much.
Thank you. Number 1, last from us up here, and then it's your turn, I think. Who will cheerfully shout my name as I enter the school board office? That's what I will miss most about you. Your warmth and humor, the ability you have to turn any situation into a meeting of friends. I will very much miss your big, welcoming, and joyful heart in the school board office.
Okay, you're all smiling.
It's your turn.
You're all smiling. Everybody smiling? No crying? Okay. I did write this down so I wouldn't screw it up. That was actually more fun than I thought it would be. Very clever. I like that.
That's what people say about us. We're more fun than they thought we would be.
Thank you so much for this tremendous honor and for your very generous comments. Serving as the clerk has truly been the best job I've ever had. Every day was a new challenge, and I feel so lucky to have had this opportunity to have this job. I want to thank my friends and family, especially my husband, John, who I think is watching on Channel 21, because it's usually on when I get home after a meeting anyway, so wave to John, for their patience and encouragement. I've had the privilege of working with so many talented, amazing people in FCPS who work hard every day to make a difference in the life of every student. Thanks to the members of the school board for your passion and dedication in serving the community. I know how much time and energy you spend on this job, and it's so important, and you are to be commended. Thanks to Dr. Garza for your visionary leadership and your willingness to listen and share your thoughts and your friendship. Thanks to the leadership team everybody over there, and all the people that may not be here tonight, for your unwavering dedication to the students and staff of Fairfax County. You have my utmost respect. Thanks to Chris Donahue for always reminding me about the big picture, for your support and encouragement, and for your friendship. Thanks to Ben Press and all those student representatives who went before you for sharing the student perspective here at the board table on behalf of those 188,000 or 190,000, I'm not sure what the number is. Thanks to the incredible school board office staff. Your professionalism, your ability to get the job done, I could always count on you. And look at them, they're here at 9 o'clock tonight just to make me smile. Thank you. And thanks to Eileen for working with me through this transition, spending every day with me for 25 days maybe. I know you will serve the board well. I'm so proud to have been a part of this great team. Retirement will offer me new opportunities and a different daily pace, and I look forward to figuring out what that's going to be. Thank you again. I will miss you all.
Okay. Ms. Goddard will be with us for another few days, right? This is just our opportunity to give her a formal farewell. We will enjoy her company for a few more days. And Ms. Goddard, I already need your help. Do we have no one doing no citizen participation signups? Okay, so we will move to item 2.02, opening of school report. I call on Dr. Garza.
It's kind of hard to follow that. We're also feel so emotionally connected to Pam, so we're going to miss you a lot. Does someone have a? Oh, thank you. Right here.
2 buttons right there.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's a great pleasure that I give this annual report, our opening of schools report. Typically, this presentation and this is an annual presentation, it's kind of tradition, and typically it would focus on facts, capital improvements, kind of just what happened at the beginning of the school year, new initiatives, and challenges and opportunities ahead, which in recent years most definitely would include references to our budget challenges. But tonight's going to be a little different. I will address some of the elements of the back to school presentation report that you all have you all admire and like to hear every year. But I've chosen not to address the budget tonight. So we all know where we are with the fiscal year 17 budget, and we'll have many, many opportunities to continue to have that dialogue with our community. But when I look at the title of the speech, the opening of schools report, we've had an outstanding start. So we felt like tonight would be a perfect opportunity to really focus just on the celebration of a great start in FCPS, and there's so much to celebrate. But before I begin with the formal presentation, again, I'd like to thank Chris Donahue for putting this presentation together, and then lots of folks over there, our wonderful leadership team. The human capital that exists in FCPS is second to none, and these are wonderful examples of what great talent we have, and they help contribute to this. Let's see, there we go. Just a few pictures from the first day of school, and I know many of you were in schools that first day. There's always such a wonderful level of excitement that exists with the start of every school year, and this year is no exception. We had a great start. And I would say I have to first compliment our wonderful FCPS employees. We're very grateful for our bus drivers, our food service staff, our facilities and maintenance staff, our teachers, our counselors, our librarians, our school leaders, many others, far too many to mention all of them. But every single role in FCPS, every single employee contributes to our schools being ready, our system being ready to receive our students for a new school year. Great starts don't just happen by chance. They happen by design and lots of preparation. So all of our FCPS employees, we thank you for this very smooth and very positive start to the 2015-2016 school year. Now to some of the fast facts that people like to refer to. So I didn't want to disappoint, so we did include the facts. We did open school with an estimated 188,545 students. So we continue to grow. We are the nation's 10th largest system. We have 196 schools and centers, 27,000 employees, 26 million square feet of school buildings and office space. And we have students that speak over 200 different languages that come from all over the world. And many of you know I've coined that term, the United Nations of Public Schools. That's FCPS. And when we speak of a portrait of a graduate and our expectations and hopes for every one of our graduates, we believe that the diversity of our school system is such a great experience for our schools. And you saw that with the beautiful faces of the students who sang tonight from Annandale High School. It is a great preparation for our portrait of a graduate. Being an ethical and global citizen, that experience is very beneficial. Just more on demographics, because people think about FCPS in a certain way. Maybe they think that all schools in FCPS are like the school down the street from them, or the school they attended, or the school that their children attend. So I think this is an interesting analysis of our demographics. There are 132 school divisions in the Commonwealth, 132 school divisions in Virginia. We are the largest by far, and you'll see that we're more than twice the size of number 2 on that list. But not only are we growing very fast, by about 22,000 students since 2008, which is almost the size of many, of the schools at the bottom of the list. We also have growing educational needs of our students that are evident in our schools as well. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about Genesis Works in just a little bit, and I have a wonderful friend who I've known for a long time, Rafael Alvarez, who's in the room. But when I called him to ask him would he consider coming to Fairfax County, he said, "Y'all don't have any needs in Fairfax County." And I said, "You remember the story, don't you, Rafael?" I said, "Well, we almost have 54,000 children in our system living in poverty." I said, "That's more than all of DC public school children in total." He said, "Really?" A lot of people don't realize that. But if you just look at our free and reduced population of students, and that was one school system, just those students, it would be the 6th largest school system in the state of Virginia. Our ESOL population of students would be the 9th largest school system, just that group alone. And many do not realize that we have growing educational needs, growing very fast, but also the educational needs of our students are also growing. Well, we've had an exciting start. And at the same time, we did a lot of things that are different and new, lots of heavy lifting. And I'll tell you one of the first ones we've talked about before, and we've certainly celebrated at our last board meeting, so many people who had a lot to do with this change, but later high school start times. That was a huge, huge initiative for our school system, but we put a very positive foot forward in doing something that important And with that much planning that was so smooth, people expected things to be different than they were. And I will tell you, I hope you're getting the feedback I'm getting. I met with all the student journalists from all of our high schools yesterday, 2 or 3 students from every single high school. What was the first thing they mentioned when I came into the room? Later high school start times. And they told me that they feel better. I've had principals tell me they see a difference in the hallways at the start of the school. So it was the right decision for the right reasons, and because of FCPS staff and all of the support. And I will tell you that I'd be remiss if I didn't compliment and thank our community for supporting the change, our parents, and so many others who really helped us get that done and done very well. And we have many other school systems that are calling us about wanting to learn about how we did it. Student information systems, parent accounts were open this year, so parents now have just-in-time grades. That's a major effort in helping us being strong partners with our parents. Down the road, we'll be opening accounts for students. I think in the spring, we'll be piloting that and moving that forward. I think that's certainly a good move in the right direction. We've been working on, for the last several years, changes to staffing. Certainly our class size regulation, I think went a long way this year in helping us start on a positive foot with parents and students. And I have to compliment, of course, all of our HR department and all of our regional officers who work very closely with our schools to make sure that we're honoring our commitments with our class size regulation. We've also, in response to concerns and needs from our principals, we accelerated the hiring process. In years past, many of our principals were not in a position to hire until June or July, which put us behind other surrounding school systems. Again, due to a lot of real quick changes that were very important to our system, we accelerated the hiring process and enabled our schools to begin hiring in April and May, which is beneficial to our schools. We began this year an ESOL pilot at 2 of our high schools, Stewart High School and Lee High School, and we believe that design holds a lot of promise that we'll be able to use in other high schools throughout our division with an accelerated instructional model, but also a focus on kind of a literacy-intensive focus. So we're seeing that that's going very well, and we're really following that closely. Project Momentum, we're very proud of the work that's been done in Project Momentum with our schools that need concentrated support. This past year, we saw all the Project Momentum PSI schools improved, and they had significant gains, particularly in math and science. This year, we will have the lowest number of schools accredited with warning than we've had in recent years. You have a presentation scheduled soon at a work session on this, and we're kind of throwing down this major goal of not having any schools that are not accredited in next year, 2016. So 2016, all schools fully accredited in FCPS, and we believe that that's an attainable goal with the work that's been done and the wonderful work in our schools and with our principals. Energy management, you heard about that tonight. We're very, very proud of that work. And again, it's working with our schools and making sure that where we can save the dollars and not create discomfort for any of our teachers and classrooms, again, that's money that can be diverted to other very, very important work. Our grading work is underway with last year it began, and that will continue in earnest this year. It's important for us to know many of our schools have taken that on themselves. That's important discussion and certainly important as we go about making sure that we have equitable and consistent practices with regard to grading. And then finally with budget, this year we've taken on and approached the community engagement aspect of the budget development in very unique and different ways, and really working hard to make sure that our community is engaged and that their voice is being heard throughout this process. So I think that's commendable on part of our school system that we're asking our community to weigh in and give us their feedback. So we're looking forward to getting lots of feedback from our community in that process. I mentioned Genesis Works earlier. I'm very excited that we have some important guests here tonight that I'll be introducing. But Genesis Works, and I've talked about it quite a bit. Genesis Works is a nonprofit organization that gives high school seniors the knowledge and opportunity to work and succeed in a corporate environment before they graduate from high school. It starts with an 8-week training program during the summer between their junior and senior years. Then they are placed in partnerships during their internships, meaningful paid internships during their senior year. This board, along with the work around Portrait of a Graduate, and just know that we need to tighten that link between what we're doing in our high schools and the world of work. This nonprofit organization is a proven model. Right now they exist in 4 other major marketplaces. We will now be the 5th major marketplace in this area. I'm very delighted to introduce Rafael Alvarez, who is the CEO of Genesis Works, who's here with us tonight. Thank you for being with us tonight. Raphael's here for a foundations meeting in the morning, and we're looking forward to that. He's also joined by Anthony Priest. Anthony is their first employee here. He's on the ground with us working to generate support for getting the program started with both funding and also establishing those paid internships for our students. We're very excited and hopeful we'll be ready to go and start naming and identifying students this spring, so they'll be ready to go to the training program this coming summer in 2016 and then begin their paid internships next year. I'm very grateful to the FCPS Foundation Board for being supportive of Genesis Works, and they've unanimously agreed to try to help raise the funding to get the program started here. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Murphy, who's now the Foundation Board Executive Director. Elizabeth came to us with so much experience in this area, having run a couple of other nonprofits. She already has so many established relationships throughout the business community and is really well respected in our community. And she's already making a difference, and so we're very happy to have her on board. I'd also like to acknowledge Dr. Jerry Gordon, who has been the chair of the foundation board, and also I'd like to acknowledge the Fairfax Chamber of Commerce and Jim Corcoran, who have been very helpful in helping us be obnoxious in our recruiting of Genesis Works here to our area. But we're so excited about the possibilities to really make a difference in the lives of hundreds of students on an annual basis that really change the trajectory of their lives. And we're really excited about that. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to go into a little bit more depth with later high school start times. I'm not going to go into the details of what we went through, but years of planning went into that effort. We still have work ahead to perfect the model. We recognize that. But I hear daily, as I mentioned before, about what a difference this is making for our schools and for our students. And the fact that it had no appreciable effect on traffic, and the sky didn't fall, and it was a great start. So we really thank our community and all of our staff, students, and parents. Food and nutrition, we have long, I know this has long been a priority of our school system and our board, not only to make sure that we have strong academic programs for our students, but that we're taking care of the health and well-being of our students as well. So food and nutrition services, I consider the fact that we've been an innovator in this area for many years. And we're very proud of that, but I would tell folks in the community, stay tuned. We're very, very happy to welcome our new Director of Food Nutrition Services, Rodney Taylor, to our school system, and I will tell you he's making an impact. I met with a number of parents just tonight before I came to the board meeting, and they spent some time with Rodney yesterday, and they were very, very impressed. So I think there's continued great work ahead in the area of food and nutrition services. In transportation, the one thing I would point out on this, I know you all like the facts, and sometimes I know you find those beneficial. One thing that you might not know, though, we're experiencing higher ridership in high schools this year. I think that's great. Of course, we don't have the data yet to back that up, but our reports from our bus drivers and our transportation department says that we have many more high school students riding the bus. That's good news, because that means fewer vehicles driving to school, fewer vehicles parking in our parking lots, and then fewer people in our kiss and rides. So that's, I think, certainly another good bit of news with regard to our change in high school start times. And as with every year, the most important thing we do is hire great people. And so this year was no different. We hired great people to join the FCPS family. We hired 1,360 teachers to start this school year. We received 14,570 teacher applications. I will tell you that's down from previous years. And I think that's a function of the national shortage that many of you may be reading about. It's considered right now a national crisis. But also our lagging teacher salaries have to have an effect on that as well. So it's something that we're really going to have to watch moving forward. We had 1,209 who attended Great Beginnings. Many of you were there with us that day to welcome these wonderful teachers to our system. We hired 16 principals. We moved a few around, trying to get people in the places where we can certainly and best utilize their talents, and I'm very excited about them. And 62 assistant principals have also been hired. And speaking of great people, let me tell you about Kimberly Scott. Starting, actually just announced, I think it was just last week, we started the school year with a very exciting announcement, and that our Fairfax County Teacher of the Year, Kimberly Scott, who is a English language arts teacher at Franklin Middle School, was named the Region 4 Teacher of the Year. So we're very proud of her, and she will now, in early October, she's now one of 8 finalists for the Virginia Teacher of the Year, and wish her the very best in that process. I think she's a winner right now. I've had several opportunities to get to know Kimberly. She's very special. She's a master educator, but more than that, if you've ever been around her, she's so inspirational. So she's a great ambassador for FCPS, certainly Franklin Middle School, but really for the teaching profession as a whole. So we're very, very proud of her.
Dr. Garza, can I just ask you, just because we have regions, can you tell us, so that we understand and appreciate Ms. Scott for her achievement, in context, Region 4 is not our Region 4?
No, it's not our, thank you. It's not our Region 4, it's in the state, we have 8 regions across the entire state. So she's one of 8 now, she's one of 8 state finalists for State Teacher of the Year. So thank you. So we don't have any confusion there. We're very proud of her, and we expect her to do well at the state. I think the celebration is coming up in the middle of October. As with any start of any new school year, we're also appreciative of the opportunity to invest in our school buildings. And this year was no exception with regard to capital investments. We had 2.1 million square feet under construction, totaling $451 million. We have a very busy design and construction team. This school year, we will begin construction on an additional 853,000 square feet to accommodate our growing population. We're designing another 1.4 million square feet of schools at a value of about $369 million. We do have another bond referendum before the voters in November, and we, like this bond and all previous bonds, we're very grateful to the community for supporting these bond referendums. It's very important in terms of our ability to invest in our schools and make sure that they're quality learning spaces for our students. With regard to some of the specific projects underway or completed, we have a number of elementary school renovations: Claremont, Garfield, Haycock, Keene Mill, North Springfield, Ravensworth, Springfield Estates, Terracet, and Westgate Elementary Schools. Of our middle school and high school renovations, we have Langley High School, Thomas Jefferson Science and Technology Center High School, Thoreau Middle School, and new schools and additions, Fort Belvoir, our second school at Fort Belvoir, and then West Briar Elementary School. These represent, in my view, an important investment in our communities that will benefit our students for many, many years to come. We do have some pictures of these great facilities. Certainly a source of pride for these communities and for FCPS as a whole. Terracet's an interesting facility. I remember seeing Terracet for the first time, essentially all underground. and that's now very different. So if you haven't seen the change at Terracet, I would encourage you to do that. I was surprised to see underground buildings. Another surprise when I came to FCPS. Haycock Elementary School, I think, man, facilities, design and construction, I know it was a little tight there at the beginning of school, but they got it done, and Haycock was ready for students and ready to start school. I was just at Thoreau Middle School yesterday, and the new parts of the building that are open are just impressive and really nice. The library is beautiful, and the librarian's quite excited about it as well. So it's looking good. Thomas Jefferson High School, you'll see there the science labs. Many of you were there for the opening of the science labs this last spring, and there's additional aspects of it being opened. It's coming to an end, right? The end is in sight, I hope. And then tonight we had certainly exciting news about our synergistic partnership and our work around energy management and reducing our carbon footprint. We did state a pretty lofty goal, and I'm very proud of the fact that we certainly achieved that goal, and very appreciative of everyone who played a part in that. And then our turf fields, South County High School and Middle School, Stewart High School, Hayfield Secondary School, and Annandale High School. And I know we've had some ribbon cuttings just recently that were certainly celebrations for our community for these fields, because not only are they beneficial to our students, but certainly to our overall communities. And then as we think into the future and think forward, we're very proud of the work that's been done around our Ignite, our strategic plan. I want to thank this board for the investment of your time. A significant amount of time went into the development of the plan. I'm also very proud of our goal statements, because it represents, we commit. It's stating these things that we value and we commit to our community. So the 4 goal statements are listed there in this slide. We have a short video we want to show you about our strategic plan. It's a video that we've been using to introduce the plan. So if you wouldn't mind rolling this very short video, and then I'll wrap up my comments.
The strategic plan really lays the platform so that we can all speak a common language.
The strategic plan provides the framework for where we want to go and sets the direction for how we're going to get there.
Student success is not a score, and it's not simply a grade. Student success is about growth. Success will be built day by day, week by week, and year by year, both in this classroom and in the one that came before it and in the one that comes after it, until the portrait of a graduate is realized.
A caring culture in a school or an FCPS building would be a warm welcome upon entry in every school building, a warm tone on the other end of the line of the phone, even if you never meet that person. And it's how you feel when you walk into a school or a school setting. We're a place where children grow up. We're a place where children mature. We're a resource for parents. Their first perception is what they're going to take away as reality.
A premier workforce is one that leads in every way. One that selects among those that are not only forward-looking, but also, and more importantly, those that have a high probability of meeting the needs of the students and the clients we serve. It's important that we hire and retain the best of the best here in FCPS, because our mission is to provide our students the best instruction, the best environment, and the best support that can be provided so that they have the best opportunities to live full, meaningful, productive lives.
Resource stewardship is effective planning and management of all of our resources, including funding received from the county and state of Virginia, personnel contributions from employees, volunteers, and community members, and capital investments in our school buildings. Resource stewardship provides the foundation for great schools which are essential to students and an outstanding asset to the community.
If we think about each of us as professionals and we compare our work to, say, being musicians, we each are very skillful musicians and we've been playing beautifully. But a strategic plan helps us come together in such skillful harmony. We'll all be playing not just in tune but in time, and the music is going to be so much more beautiful, and the orchestration is going to be a work of art.
Could not be better said than by Kimberly Scott on that last statement about our harmonious orchestra as we continue to work together. I will tell you, as I walk into all of our schools this year, and as we think about the future, I will tell you our schools are taking this work so seriously. I hear them talking about the Portrait of a Graduate. I hear them talking about project-based learning, capstone projects. There's exciting work, and our schools and our teachers are really owning this. So we're excited about what's ahead, and we thank you for having the vision for helping us set the stage for the future of FCPS. The Portrait of a Graduate is what people are really looking at, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. We were at a state event. Pat and Megan were with me. I don't remember what day that was. Was that this week? And we had State Superintendent Steve Staples come up to us, and we were complimenting him on his leadership. And he turned it around and said, but you all don't know how much the Portrait of a Graduate is shaping the conversation at the state level. And he said it's being talked about everywhere, at the state board, at policy meetings with the legislature. So we're really proud of that work. And we think it not only is impactful in our classrooms, but potentially will impact the work that's being done throughout the entire state. There's a wonderful quote about that the New York Times reported that a child raised in poverty in Fairfax County will earn 20% more income as a young adult than the average county. This is due to less segregation, lower inequality, stronger families, lower violent crime, and finally, better schools. So we can make a difference. We do make a difference every day in our schools throughout this county. We're very proud of our schools. I'm going to end on just a couple of things as we talk about the kind of school system we want to be, a responsive and caring culture with all of our stakeholders. I would just remind our parents and our constituents out there to know that we want your help in recognizing our wonderful employees who go well above and beyond the call of duty every single day to serve our students. I often get emails from parents, or people will stop me at different places and talk about this wonderful FCPS employee or that wonderful FCPS employee and the difference they've made in their child's life. So we would encourage, like I do with these individuals, we encourage you to go online and lift up our employees throughout our system and take a moment to acknowledge their great work. I know it means a lot to them, and we have a way for you to do that on our FCPS Cares. If you go to our website, you can certainly reach out and help lift up great FCPS employees. And then when you need our help, we are here for you. I will tell you that sometimes people don't know where to go, but I would say if you have a need or something that we can do for you, please start with your child's school, your child's principal. They're the best people. They want to help you, and they're the best people to make certain they're the best people to be responsive quickly to your child's needs. But we also have our regional offices, and so it's important for our parents to know about their regional offices. So I want to point out how you get in contact with your regional offices if they can help you. If you'll just look at our website on the main page, you can learn about your region. And then we have crisis resources. It's important for our families and our students to know where to go if they need help. Our crisis resources, it's something we started last year. Our crisis text, which has been very successful in helping students when they need help. And sometimes it's not during the school day. Sometimes it's at night, and sometimes it's on weekend. I think you'll be very pleased and proud to know that they've had over, in terms of total exchanges via text, over 227,742 text exchanges from one calendar year of this being in place. So I know it's helping countless thousands of students get the kind of help they need. So we're very grateful for our partnership with the county. We think this is good work. Actually had a superintendent ask me about this today in another school system. So we're very proud of that and want our families and our parents to know about it. And then finally, I'm going to conclude my presentation. I just wanted to say I'm very excited about the future of Fairfax County Public Schools. We have charted the future of our great system with a plan that will continue to build upon our tradition of excellence. Creating our future as a system is important for our children, but we also have the opportunity as the largest school system in the Commonwealth and one of the largest in the nation to also shape the direction of educational policy in our state and in the nation. And I'm already seeing that some of this conversation that we've been having for some time, I'm seeing evidence of the impact on the state and national conversation. The conversation about the direction of public schools, particularly across the state, is beginning to change. I find the change in conversation and focus to be very hopeful and certainly cause for optimism. I was at a meeting just today with state leaders and with other school superintendents. And board members, you should be very proud of this. The conversation that you've been having and that we've been having here in FCPS is making a difference. The state board is talking about a portrait of a graduate. In fact, just today I heard state officials say that quality schools and a quality educational experience is much more, should be much more, than just about academics and a test score. State Superintendent Steve Staples said today that it's also about civic and community, social emotional health, and career-ready skills like FCPS's portrait of a graduate. I also heard another state official talk about more than one pathway to a high school diploma. Does that sound familiar? The direction bodes well for our state and, most importantly, for the children of this state and nation. Our schools are already engaged in this work with project-based, problem-based learning, capstone projects, and important literacy work, and these are just a few examples of the innovative and future-focused work that is underway in our nationally renowned schools. There are great things ahead in 2015, 2016 for all of Fairfax County Public School students. I want to thank our over 27,000 very talented and dedicated employees who work so diligently each and every day to provide opportunities and to create conditions for every child in our system to learn, to succeed, to contribute, and to realize their hopes and dreams. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garza. After all the work that everyone did to get this school year off to a great start, you also took time to prepare this very informative and encouraging report for the community. We appreciate that. School board members have any comments or questions for Dr. Garza? Ms. Evans?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that, sometimes we focus so much on our challenges. We're focusing so much on the budget that to see this all in one place is just wonderful. To see how much wonderful work is going on throughout our system, that we continue to grow, that we continue to improve, that we have so many exciting new things going on, and that we just continue to have positive changes. So thank you for putting this together for us to show just how much we are doing. We continue to just have marvelous work throughout the system every day. Of course, I'm looking at the numbers that we have 188,545 students, which I think is that about 2,000 or 3,000 more than we had in the spring? I know we'll get an exact number later, but it's significantly up, is it not?
Well, that's our projected number, and
Right.
we'll have to see. We won't know until early October what our numbers will be.
Right.
So, but we're tracking that, and it looks like it will hold. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. So even with a continued growth, we've seen this for many years now, that it does keep growing, and yet we keep meeting the challenges in better and better ways. Of course, I'm thrilled to hear about the smooth start with the later start times. That's been a long time I'm coming, and I think everyone here knows how strongly I feel about that. And to hear that the student journalists are already feeling the impact of that, and that's what I'm hearing that in the schools as well, that the students are more awake. I'm hearing it from teachers, I'm hearing it from students, I'm hearing it from parents. So, again, kudos to everyone who worked on that. It took, a great team effort, and that they're riding. I did not know that more high school students were riding the bus. That's great news, not just for the students, but for the environment, for the traffic, for everyone. So, and just we do continue. We need to step back every so often and realize that as a school system, we continue to lead in Virginia. We continue to lead in the country, and so thank you for everyone that did their part. Dr. Garza, your leadership team. This is marvelous news. So thank you.
Ms. Strauss?
Not to repeat everything that Ms. Evans has said, but I'm very, very pleased to hear about how our work with Ignite and Portrait of the Graduate, how that is appears to be bearing fruit with the state, because ultimately, if we want to change the direction of teaching and learning in Fairfax County, we have to change the direction in our state, because that is where schools are accredited and where our whole structure begins. So all of the work that was done on that is so worthwhile. I am just really delighted. We know nationally the conversation, people are yearning for a different direction for education and really looking at what we have talked about with our vision for where we want to go. So we're not only helping our own children here in Fairfax County, but hopefully we are helping many, many more children. So thank you for your vision, Dr. Garza. Thank you for pushing us all forward, and I think we are going in such a wonderful direction for all of our children. Thank you.
Ms. Darnat Kovacs?
I wanted also just echo what my colleagues have been saying. Thank you, Dr. Garza, and your team for this amazing start, for taking, we're in a challenging situation, we know that, but we can see that New York Times quote says it all in some ways, that a child raised in poverty, how we continue to defy the odds, and how we continue to excel in so many ways. And we all know what a great system we have. We thank you for your leadership in this area and for continuing to move us forward in that very positive way, even in a challenging fiscal situation. I can tell you, I've been to several back-to-school nights, including my own daughter's tonight, where Portrait of a Graduate is being talked about in the introduction in videos, in assemblies. Strategic plan is being introduced in very appropriate ways, too, in snippets, but in slides, so parents understand where we're going and what our objectives are. And I think I mentioned this at the last board meeting, but it keeps on coming. So I'm getting thanked by teachers and students continually about the later start times. Particularly mentioned teachers tonight because I was in their classrooms, and I only got to half of my daughters, but 3 out of the 4 that I was at, like little claps. I told my husband I'm a Class B celebrity tonight in the school, because they are so grateful, because the students are come to class in a much better state, much more prepared, much better to learn. These were a high school that I was at tonight. So it's, we're making impacts, and thank you, and thank you staff for your leadership team, and thank you board members, because it's a great way to start with these positive things, and we know challenges lie ahead, but we know we'll come up to them and we'll get through this, but thank you.
Mrs. Schultz?
So I just wanted, it's not often that people see me turn and do a thumbs up during a video. So I want to call particularly the section of the video that talks about culture. And talks about culture not just from an employee's perspective, but from how we interact with parents as partners and the education of their children, and how literally from, the way a phone is answered or the way somebody's greeted in the office of a school, how that something that small, is a seed that can grow through an organization. And Dr. Atwater is sitting over in the bully pulpit or whatever that is over there. And I want to particularly acknowledge her as she's here tonight, and her executive principal, Mr. Brent, because I see in Region 4, which that's like the fourth time Region 4 has been talked about tonight. So it's apparently the phrase of the evening, but how they've been able to, through purposeful intent, do exactly what that video says. And that is where, you really start to turn a culture around. Dr. Lipp, you and I have talked about this so many times in working with parents and families of children who have disabilities, and that's already an agonizing process. So things like that in that video are, when they're taken to heart, we really do have a culture change on our hands. Number two, through, I'm sure, some miraculous coincidence, my bus driver for 10 years, Mr. Art, was featured in this video. And so, Mr. Art, you're the best bus driver. And I'm sure that he had received some accolades to be in there. Transportation, I don't know what to say, Mr. Plattenberg, to you and your staff. I know that some regions have experienced some transportation, interesting, phone calls and experiences. Without a shadow of a doubt, in the 4 years that I've been on the board, this is by far, not by a few, not by a handful, by a magnitude that I can't calculate, the fewest number of transportation issues I've had. And the work that I went into up front, going through the bus routes to prepare for the start of this year, showed off in spades. It doesn't mean that we don't have the onesie twosies. We do, and we're handling those. And parents, for those of you who are experiencing that, everything's still settling, but just a phenomenal start, at least in the western end of the county for me. I do have there was one moment in there, and that was the 53,000 FRM students. And I got to tell you, when you're running at 28% of a school system, boy, I hope the Board of Supervisors are paying attention to that, because there's a lot that goes into, why we have those kind of figures, and all of it is out of our control. And so that is a stunning statistic, I think, probably for the community and for we here and for those people who sit in another building. And that has a lot to do with, some of our budget challenges, and we've got to hopefully be paying attention to that together. And the last thing that I want to say is that we've had a wonderful start to the school year. There are challenges still ahead. I have some schools that have some of the latest start times, some of the elementary schools, and I have children who are getting off a bus after 5 o'clock in the evening. And I'll look forward to continuing to work with you on that. Those are, again, one-offs, but my community needs to know that I've heard them, and that I'm talking with principals, I'm talking with administrators, and while overall my two high schoolers are much more pleasant in the morning. So not only did I make that a good decision for everybody else, but boy, my household is so much more pleasant. And my children are actually going to bed, despite all the predictions, going to bed earlier, not staying up later. So, so a great start to the year. Acknowledge challenges, still a little bit of simmering down to do through the start of the year, but looking forward to resolving what we can. Thank you, Dr. Garza.
Ms. McLaughlin?
Just briefly, I thought it was fascinating in one of the charts where it shows the demographics, just size of Fairfax County to the other school systems in the Commonwealth of Virginia. You could cut Fairfax County in half, and we would still be the largest school division in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are 2 times the size of Prince William, which is the next closest runner-up. So it's a massive, massive enterprise. And I did want to piggyback on something Dr. Garza said when Ms. Hines and I and Dr. Garza were at the governor's listening tour out in Manassas at Osborne High School. And it was extremely encouraging to hear our state superintendent talking about all this passion that Dr. Garza and our board has brought to trying to make what does a graduate really look like. And to think with this board's desire to try and govern a great school system, but somehow find the time to maybe have a larger impact, it was very gratifying to realize it's actually happening. That is going to have, I believe, a very meaningful effect on our Commonwealth. And that's the type of work I know this board has been wanting to do. So kudos to my colleagues and Dr. Garza and your team. I will not repeat what everybody else has been saying, other than, yes, it's been fantastic with the start of the year and the late start times, and being the mother of a teenager, I'm seeing all of it. But I do think it's important, speaking on behalf of my district, Braddock District, Mr. Plattenberg, you I know are very well aware, I seem to be having a lot of challenges, and I want to compliment Mr. Plattenberg for your incredible responsiveness to it. But I did feel, as everybody's talking roses and sunshine, it would not be fair to my schools to not at least let my colleagues know it's been a little bumpy in Braddock, and hopefully we'll get that ironed out. And I did send a kit message to my community.
I saw that.
Letting them know. We'll get there.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. If I could say something, because I've been telling principals this too. Sometimes, like for an example, when we first implemented synergistics, people, there would be a problem at a school, like the air conditioner wasn't, running, and people automatically thought it was because of our synergistics partnership. Never thought that maybe the system had completely shut down. So we attribute things that change oftentimes to the biggest piece of the system that moved. So just to provide some context, we've actually had we've had fewer late buses than we've had in previous years by a significant number. So, but anytime you change the systems or change the routing, we're going to have places where we're going to have to continue to adjust. So we've heard you, Ms. McLaughlin. We do know that there's some areas, but they are isolated. They seem to be somewhat isolated. And I believe our team, and I continue to hear it from the field, that our team is listening. They're working with our schools. They're trying to resolve the issues. I think they're a function of just changing schedules, but not necessarily to a later high school start time. I'm talking about changing routes, not changing high school start times.
Thank you so much for making that clarification, because that is what I am sharing with my community. Don't attach one to the other, and it really has been more isolated, and so no, that is not the connection we want people to think.
Ms. Reed?
Thank you, Dr. Garza. I think that we all share the excitement and just the possibility of a new school year. And this board, I think, has the reputation of kind of, someone else said it, kind of fixating in on what needs to be improved. And so tonight, for me, it's all about saying congratulations to you and thank you to all the staff. All of the work and all the activities that you mentioned in your presentation, there are a lot of people behind that and a lot of work. And again, sometimes we don't stop to say thank you and to celebrate the enormous accomplishments. I mean, right before school started, there were still people scrambling around trying to make sure that classrooms are ready, that people were hired, and miraculously, the first day of school, everybody comes in and everything is relatively smooth. And I know we've all been going to back to school nights, and I've been kind of probing people. How's it going? What's going on? Everybody seems very, very pleased. And in fact, the feedback is this is one of the best best starts we've ever had. And gosh, we've had some huge changes that we've made. So that says something, right? Everybody stepped up. And I wanted to acknowledge that. There have been a few things that I've heard from community that we've talked about, hardly any transportation issues. Class sizes, some, I think because some of our kids hadn't registered in advance, that literally the first day or week of school we get new students that we didn't know were coming, and so that's causing some of our class sizes to be too large. And so I think in some cases, and unfortunately even in a kindergarten, somebody may need to be getting a new teacher and doing a little bit of a transition. So feeling for people, but we are addressing the class size issue and being very responsive. So so kudos again to everybody for just kind of working with what we deal with when kids walk in the door. And last but not least, I wanted to mention, as we talk about the portrait of a graduate, and there's a lot of good information in there, but one of the things that I'm hearing from the community, particularly the business community, is how excited they are that we're beginning to emphasize different pathways to graduation and work. There are a lot of job shortages out there, or supply and demand, I should say, where there are jobs, but we don't have people to fill them. And so as I look forward, I'm very excited about trying to change that dynamic, both in terms of meeting the needs of our community here and contributing to our economy, but also changing the message to the families and to the students that there's not one pathway to success. If you don't go to Harvard or UVA, you're somehow inferior. And we have created that. And so that is something, too, that I believe we need to work on as a system and as a community, to say, you know what? You know, as I say to my own children, you know, everyone is on their own journey. There's a pathway for everyone. And so I think if we begin to change that culture as we change a lot of other things in the system, maybe that'll impact our student health and well-being, the stress of our teachers and parents and students. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very thankful for the work that's been done by the staff, and looking forward to a great and exciting year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Item 2.03, Student Representative Matters. I call on Mr. Press.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, it's really always incredible to get a sense of the sheer magnitude of our system. Those numbers are just incredible. To add to Dr. Garza's remarks, I've heard overwhelmingly positive comments about the opening of school, later start times, and the initiatives that we're rolling out this year. So we really should commend ourselves on the great work, and thank you, Dr. Garza, and the leadership team for the work that you've done. To our wonderful Miss Goddard, thank you for your years of service. It's been an absolute joy to be your adopted son over these past few months, and I hope you know that the impact that you've had on our students, although sometimes very much behind the scenes, has helped to make FCPS the great place that it is. Because when you and your team do good work, this board does good work. I know that I speak on behalf of all of the student representatives you worked with when I say you've made an incredible impact in our lives. I'd like to take a moment to discuss our FY 2017 budget. Following a series of budget task force meetings, school board meetings, and some student engagement, I've been formulating student engagement plans around the budget. As the board and the community continue the conversation about our budget challenges, I'll be working to interact with students from all backgrounds and from all areas of the county, from now until the budget adoption in May, to hear what is important to them. That plan will include school visits, which I'll begin scheduling in the next few weeks, attending the board's and superintendent's community engagement meetings, and using social media to solicit student opinion. On this and any issue, as always, I invite students to visit my webpage and shoot me an email. I'm always happy to talk. Looking forward, I'm pleased to announce that the Student Advisory Council will be kicking off their work this week at its kickoff at Falls Church High School this coming Monday. The group has very important work this year discussing our fiscal challenges, grading policy, and mental health. And I look forward to keeping the board apprised of their work and continuing the dialogue between students and school leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Press. Item 3, consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Many items listed have gone through board review, and documentation has been provided to all board members and the public in advance. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the meeting. 3.02, confirm the separations for the period beginning July 1, 2015 and ending August 31, 2015 as detailed in the agenda item. 3.03, appoint Goalie Trump as Auditor General effective September 28, 2015. 3.04, appoint individuals to serve a one-year term on the Challenged Materials Interdepartmental Review Committee as detailed in the agenda item. 3.05, approve the World Languages Basal Instruction Materials Adoption Committee appointments as detailed in the agenda item. 3.06, appoint individuals to serve on committees as detailed in the agenda item. Is there any objection to approving the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing no objection, the consent agenda is approved. Item 4, new business. Hang on, sorry, one second. 4.01, proposed Freedom Hill Vienna expedited boundary adjustment. Recommendation to approve reassignment of students in the study area from Freedom Hill Elementary School to Vienna Elementary School, effective for the 2016-17 school year, in order to balance enrollment and utilization of school facilities, and pursuant to Virginia Code Section 22.1-79(4) and Policy 8130.7, local school boundaries, program assignments, and school closings, and in accordance with Regulation 2230.12, exceptions for attendance at other than base school and procedure for applying for intra-county exceptions. Approve rising sixth grade students affected by the boundary change the option to remain at Freedom Hill Elementary School. 4.02, award of contract. Recommendation to award the contract for the automatic temperature control system replacement at Poplar Tree Elementary School to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. Item 5.01, superintendent matters. Dr. Garza?
I think I may have talked enough tonight. Do you think? So I pass. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 6.01, board reports. I call on Mr. Velkoff for a budget committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a budget work session last Monday, and we heard a number of things. So the staff updated the revenue and required expenditures for the FY 2017 operating fund, and based on the updated projections, we still forecast a deficit of $72 million. And remembering that the final funding amounts from the state and the county won't be known until the spring. We also heard from the chairman of the task force, the superintendent's budget task force, Matt Haley. He brought us up to date on the progress. They're going to be delaying the delivery date from October 7th to the 15th to allow for a little more time to work on that. And then I thought the highlight was the unveiling of the budget proposal tool, which gives everybody an opportunity to craft their own budget. We've received 850 of these, and 80% of the people have reported that the tool was easy to use. And then I know that there are going to be a number of community meetings with the superintendent and school board meetings coming up.
Mr. Moon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the same day, September 21st, there was a brief governance work session, and we discussed a couple of timelines. First, on the strategic plan reporting, and secondly, staff's responses to citizen advisory committees and potential discussion of those responses by the full school board.
Ms. Evans?
Yes, also at the September 21st work session, the board heard a presentation from the Park Authority Board outlining the many areas in which FCPS and the Park Authority collaborate. The board reviewed and discussed the proposed boundary change involving Freedom Hill and Vienna, which is posted tonight as new business and will be an action item at our next board meeting. We received a report on potential health benefits changes, and we considered a request by the Elections Board to have a late start on March 1st, 2016. Due to this being a primary election day for both political parties, which would result in more voters than expected to be at our schools, most of which are used as polling places. There was a consensus at that meeting that if we decide to have a late start on March 1st, that we would not make it up by eliminating the early close on December 18th, but we would instead reduce the number of hours available to us for use for snow and other weather closings, and the superintendent is going to consider our input and bring back a recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, board matters. I call on Ms. Darnat Koufax.
Thank you, Ms. Sines. I don't have that much because I spoke about it about the great, the great start of schools. I have been attending several back-to-school nights, and it's always fun to see the families and parents. I've probably attended about 8 or 9 at this point. I also had the pleasure of getting one of the final turf fields at Hayfield, and I went to the ribbon cutting at Hayfield Secondary last Friday, and there was a great crowd, and our community partner, the Springfield Youth League, also contributed to that, so it was a great evening. I also attended with you, Ms. Hines, the community dialogue on school attendance, and we had lots of good information presented to us about how we can work together to meet that challenge that we have, and because we all know that if you're in school, you're going to be successful, and the more unexcused absences you have, and there were several examples, and we'll need to share that with our board members, I think, as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McElvain. Ms. Strauss?
I didn't get to comment again about the bus adjustments in my end of the county, but I just want to say again how responsive the transportation people were. I mean, we had people that came out to a back-to-school night because of 2 buses that they've been adjusting, but they have been so responsive, physically being present to talk with the parents, working daily to make the adjustments, constant emails back and forth. I have never seen this amount of work and excellent communication with the parents. So again, Mr. Plattenberg, thank you very, very much. It's tremendous winner. I also want to say that the additional funding that we put into this year's budget to help reduce some of the class sizes has paid off. I am seeing class sizes that are much better in my non-high need schools, much better. So I'm very pleased, and I want to thank Dr. Garza and my colleagues for supporting that initiative. It has made a difference. And I also want to congratulate Jeremy Donnelly, who was our new principal at Haycock. He was there tonight. He actually takes his official position on Monday, but he was there tonight greeting all of the parents, and he is so excited. I think it's going to be a great match. So yes, lots of great back-to-school nights, lots of excited teachers and young parents. So very nice, very good start to the school year. Thanks.
Mr. Stork?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to really echo Ms. Strauss's comments, and again, this has truly been the smoothest start to school that I've seen, period, and transportation-wise, absolutely the smoothest, and I've heard that really across the board. I think the only challenge I've heard is kind of the adjustment that high schools have had to make from not having the buses being parked out front waiting for the kids to come out, and how to kind of make all that fit together the way that other schools have had to do for many years. So it's kind of flipped from what middle schools used to do, and now middle schools have a little bit easier. But I think regardless, and then there was a recent study, it was actually a Korean study that was done about sleep and the importance of sleep, particularly with respect to heart disease. And the study said that frankly, if you don't get in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 hours of sleep, you're not optimizing your heart health. And they talked about people like me who sleep too little and the impact it potentially has on you, as well as if you sleep too much, meaning more than 9 hours for adults. Again, so it's just interesting how all this is really interwoven, and we don't truly understand the role and the importance of sleep. And I think we're learning more every year. And I think we've clearly are a leader in making sure that our students are starting off healthy in lots of different ways. And I know for family dynamics and for their mental health, we know that it's also made huge differences. So again, off to a great start. I have had a wonderful time going to a number of back-to-school nights and school visits. Been at Hayfield Secondary, Whitman Middle School, Fort Hunt Elementary, Waynewood Elementary, West Potomac High School, Fort Belvoir Elementary School, and the new, soon-to-be new Fort Belvoir Elementary School, which is still mostly just a bunch of dirt piled up. Washington Mill Elementary School, Stratford Landing Elementary, and Woodley Hills all tonight, and off to a great start. Teachers, staff are really, I think, pretty excited. I think they're still a little bit frustrated as the concern about the budget and the impact it has on them, and obviously on students as well as ultimately their wages and how they make a living. So those are all issues I know we all have high on our list to try to address. I wanted to really thank a number of people for not only the Hayfield turf field dedication and frankly making that happen. I think was a huge impact, but also the South County turf field dedication, which followed soon after that the following week, and they're obviously very excited and pleased. Mount Vernon High School, really the sad news that Nardis King is moving on, and we all recognized her at one of the football games, and rightly so, and that's, I think, especially tough for her when you think about spending 20 years starting as a finance staff person, technician, and then becoming principal of the school and doing that over the course of so many years and being so dedicated and committed to the students. Her own children went to Mount Vernon High School. It's been a really dynamic, dramatic change for her. I know the school community is very concerned about that, and obviously I'm talking not only with the leadership of the school here, but also the recognition that, and the deep commitment I've heard from Dr. Garza, as well as Mr. Dade, about the unrelenting search for the absolute best principal for that school, and recognizing that it will truly enable us to continue building on what Nardis has been able to achieve the last few years, not only with accreditation, but also in lots of other ways with our new STEM program there, and our soon to be my favorite, if you will, paid and unpaid internships at the school. So we have lots going on, lots of positive things going on there, but we know we have more to build on. A couple more things I need to mention. I've had school office hour, library office hours, which have been well attended, not only by the Boy Scouts, but parents who are concerned about their kids and placement. I have, again, my office hours this coming 10th of October. It's Saturday, both at Lorton Library from 10 to 12, as well as from Sherwood Hall Library from 12:30 to 2:30. I welcome all, first come, first serve. Please don't hesitate to come. And we have coming up this coming Monday, the Fort Belvoir Elementary School #2 groundbreaking, and looking forward to welcoming community and leaders who have helped to make that possible to get that started. And of course, many, 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 many more back to school nights that we're all involved with and want to be part of, because we recognize it's our opportunity to meet with parents and connect with you about your school system and why we are continuing to work so hard to make it better every year. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Evans?
Yes, thank you. I also have enjoyed going to just as many back-to-school nights as I possibly can. I've very much enjoyed talking with parents and students and teachers and seeing all the enthusiasm in our schools. I will say one unfortunate situation is that today's Eid, a very important Muslim holiday, and we had a number of back-to-school nights that unfortunately were scheduled for today, and I understand that we try very hard to work around this because this is determined, the traditional time is determined by the lunar calendar. We don't know until very close to the time exactly when the holiday is going to be determined. We thought it was a bit earlier, but so that was too bad. I know that the principals who have many Muslim families who couldn't participate are working to deal with that situation and find alternative times where parents can come in and see the teachers and have back to school night type activities. But I'm not sure what the answer to this is, because I know that the back to school nights have to be scheduled far before we know when the exact holiday is, and I know the difficulties of trying to work around. I know we also put out information about the major holidays, and
But I thought I did need to mention that's of concern, and that the principals are working hard to try to deal with that situation as it comes up in their communities. I was very pleased to go to the ribbon cutting at Stewart High School for the synthetic turf field there on September 11th. And a lot of enthusiasm and excitement about that. I'm going to be attending the ribbon cutting for Annandale High School synthetic turf field tomorrow night, and I know that they're very excited in that community to be opening that as well. I was pleased to have community office hours last Saturday and had several community members come and talk with me. I try to do that on a regular basis. And I guess most importantly, I want to make sure that my community knows that I'm holding a budget town hall meeting this Monday night to discuss our budget challenges for fiscal year 2017. This will be held at Stewart High School, 7 p.m. It will be in the Little Theater this Monday, the 28th. So I hope that the entire community in Mason District will come out and have a conversation with us. I will be joined by my task force member, Sarah Mattingly, and Kristen Michael, who will be lending her expertise. Thank you, Kristen, for coming out with me on Monday.
Mr. Moon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been attending many back-to-school nights myself, and I will be joining Ms. Evans at Annandale High School tomorrow night. And hearing about the lunar calendar, it reminded me of a large number of Asian community members celebrating a Mid-Autumn Harvest Festival on coming Sunday, because coming Sunday is, according to the lunar calendar, August 15th. That's when they'll celebrate sort of Thanksgiving. Still Thanksgiving, and I'll be celebrating on Sunday, and you will see the biggest full moon. So I'll be very full on this Sunday. Thank you.
Ms. Reed?
First, wanted to thank the Fairfax Education Association for their Put Kids First event that they put on last Friday. It was very fun, and a bunch of us were there celebrating along with many of the employees and, of course, the children. Also, the NAACP had a gala last weekend, and that was a very nice occasion. Appreciated that. Wanted to let folks know I'll be participating in the Madison Homecoming Parade tomorrow, and I wonder, will I see Ms. Hines there as well? Okay, very good. You'll be there, Mr. Moon? Okay, that's tomorrow afternoon. And for book fans, I know you're out there. The Friends of the Oakton Library is having their used book sale this weekend. So Friday 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 3. I will see you there. And last but not least, on a personal note, I was just absolutely overjoyed to be in the presence of the Pope this morning, and along with, I think, about 50,000 other people. And it was just a very inspirational moment. And for anyone who thinks that the youth in this country aren't doing anything good, I can tell you there were a lot of kids in that crowd, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. So I'm very thankful that we were able to show someone that people in America can actually be gracious and kind, and it was a wonderful event. Thank you.
Ms. McLaughlin?
I'm glad Ms. Reed mentioned the Put Kids First event sponsored by FEA. It really is about our shared work in this county, and it was great to see our state officials, our board of supervisors, as well as the school board there to show support for such an important commitment that we all have. I also wanted to just share with my colleagues that next Friday, October 2nd, the Potomac Watershed Study Center, which is in connection with the Alice Ferguson Foundation in Accokeek, Maryland, is having the ribbon cutting ceremony. And I believe many of us were invited to go and be part of that wonderful thing that they do. It's my understanding over 4,000 Fairfax County students do visit this watershed area and take advantage of the programs that the Alice Ferguson Foundation does. So that's my hope, to get over there, traffic notwithstanding, and really celebrate, again, how we're trying to help students learn about being good stewards with our environment. I also just want to quickly mention that I will be having a community dialogue in Braddock District, October 21st, and I will talk more about that in future board meetings, but I also sent it in a kit message today to my district. I wanted to do a shout out to the public that this board and the board of supervisors had a really great meeting talking about the budget, and I thought that our board did a really good job of bringing forward, along with Dr. Garza, the very real challenges we're going to be facing in FY17. And I look forward to this united effort in trying to help the supervisors and our community understand what the real financial needs are and how we need to be working together to ensure the funding that the school system needs and will receive it. I also want to do a shout out for something that our board wasn't really able to participate in because it happened during our work session on Monday, but the Fairfax County Schools and the city government held a community dialogue on school attendance, and I'm hopeful that we'll have some information on our website about it, because that again is a great example of how the county and the schools are really working in concert to doing great things to help our kids be successful. I'll be joining Ms. Evans tomorrow night for the Annandale ribbon cutting at their synthetic turf field, and having served on that countywide joint committee, I'm very excited to see the fruition of a lot of really hard work for people who wanted to ensure that we have the facilities for all students and all residents throughout the county, regardless of where you live. And I too will have a homecoming parade. It'll be a week from Friday at Woodson High School, and look forward to being in that convertible and waving to everyone as we celebrate yet another great season. And so with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Oh, forgot the most important part. Dr. Garza, I wanted to give a shout out to your leadership team. I am so impressed with how responsive every single one on your team, when I have written to them about anything, are so quick to write back, to give me the most thorough responses in the work that they're doing to help our families through. It has been a joy as we start this school year together, and I'm very grateful for the hard work they're all putting in to meet the needs of our families.
Mrs. Schultz?
So I'm sorry that I missed the high FEA teachers, the Putting Kids First event on Friday, because I did, in fact, put kids first. Unfortunately, for the first time on my third son through athletics, both football and lacrosse, never mind rugby, we had our first concussion last week, and so I had one of my boys home with a concussion, and so that leads me to thank particularly Jeff Farrell as the Director of Student Activities, the DSA, and the trainers at Robinson who have done a phenomenal job. Want to make sure everybody's keeping up on their concussion protocol. As parents, pay attention, ask questions, because you could have been doing it for a very long time as a sports parent and still have new things to learn. So I want to thank all of them, and to Principal Eline for you-know-what. I want to thank Principal Jagels for hosting Dr. Atwater and Dr. Garza and me for a phenomenal ribbon cutting. It was actually very touching. They wrote a grant and got a greenhouse built in the back of the high school. For my colleagues who are particularly interested in healthy food for kids. They're going to be growing their own food, but the phenomenal wraparound is that they did it with their students with disabilities. And there were a lot of kids there that I knew, and a lot of parents that were very touched. Frady and all you guys, hi. So it was a very touching event, and particularly you students who were ambassadors for your school and for your faith or whatever brought you to working with the kids with disabilities as a part of that project. Just one of the most touching events I've been to as a school board member. So I thank the Centerville community and the grant writers and Home Depot, wasn't it Home Depot? Home Depot and Meadows Farms for your contributions to pulling that together. In addition, I want to thank the parents who do have schools that are at the tail end of the start times in elementary in my end of the county. I know that those are frustrating. I know you're being very, very patient, actually probably far more patient than I would be if I were just a parent. And I just want you to know that I'm working with your administrators, and we'll be working with transportation to see if there are any tweaks that we can improve, and it will be at the top of the list for improving for next year. And also to the schools that have had the executive function rollouts to parents. That's something that Dr. Lip is now working on, other staff are working on, and I've spent 3 years as a liaison to the state mandated Committee on Students with Disabilities, and putting more information into hands of parents on executive function skills. And even if you don't have a student who has any kind of a learning disability or anywhere on a spectrum of disabilities, if you're just a plain old regular parent with a plain old regular kid and you want to learn more about executive function, if your school's hosting one of those seminars or outreach to parents, please take advantage of that, because those are skill sets that will serve your student and you well for the rest of the school year. And I want to thank the administration for helping that pull together. Last word is for students, not just at one particular high school, but any. I'm going to make my pitch for digital citizenship again for parents. Please have a conversation with your students about appropriate use of social media. And there's any number of apps that are out there. I don't need to name them, but you know, this is the time of year where kids are adjusting to getting back to school. You got to have the conversation around, you know, what's a prank, what's a joke, and what triggers protocols in our school system that send all kinds of messages that probably don't need to be sent and involve a lot of people. And frankly, we want to keep your kids safe. And I don't want kids getting in trouble for things that maybe a conversation in the classroom or a conversation at home could have largely avoided. So kids, restrain yourselves with your social media. And, you know, if there's, you know, gut check, you know, if you think you're going to potentially get in trouble, even if it's on something that goes away very quickly, it doesn't. Somebody's going to see it. And parents, have that conversation with your kids, because we don't want them caught up in the discipline process, and we want them to have a productive year at school. Thanks.
Mr. Belka? Right, then I will be last. Just a couple things. I am, Ms. Reed, definitely looking forward to the parade tomorrow, the Madison Parade. And who else will be with us? Mr. Moon. All right, great. And Mr. McElwain. Terrific. And Mr. Bauer, everybody loves the parade. That's wonderful. And I guess Mr. Press will be there somewhere. Sure. Awesome. Also on Saturday, the Reston Multicultural Festival at Lake Ann Plaza. It is one of the best things all year. There's a new citizen celebration that day as part of the festival every year. I look forward to that. On Sunday, I will be doing storm drain labeling with students from Waples Mill Elementary and their teacher, Sean Duffy, who is in the back of the auditorium here and is watching us, Mr. Duffy. And he also just mentioned to me, too, that we have a lunar eclipse on Sunday night, so everybody be looking out for that. Student Advisory Council meeting on Monday. Very much looking forward to addressing and discussing and talking with the students, my favorite thing to do as a school board member. Just one sad note for those of us from Reston and really from all over the world. Bob Simon, Robert E. Simon, Mr. Reston, passed away on Monday. And you probably already all know that by now. But it's after 101 years of life. It's just kind of hard to imagine the planet without Bob, let alone Reston. We had a lot of great borrowed time with Bob is sort of how I feel about it. And I definitely appreciated every minute that I was able to spend with him. He was active to the very end. And just in so many ways made a difference in this area and in so many people's lives. The celebrations of Bob's life begin tomorrow night with a candlelight vigil at Lake Ann Plaza. So with that, we will not adjourn because we have a closed meeting. The board will now make a motion to go into closed meeting to discuss and consider disciplinary matters concerning students pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, to discuss and consider the employment and performance of specific public employees pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia, and to discuss the award of a public contract of lease for office space involving the expenditure of public funds, and to discuss the terms or scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A29. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Moon, seconded by Ms. Schultz. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. We will go into closed meeting now.